Greetings, fair friends. Dost thou desire adventure, whimsy, and an escape from the mundanity of the modern world? Well, get thee to a Renaissance fair. They are a perfect mix of history, fantasy, whimsy, and all-around good times. And if that sounds like fun, I highly encourage you to check one out. If you've never been to a Ren fair before, you could totally just dive right in, go in blind, and have a great time. But if you're anything like me, you're probably watching this video because you want to be prepared so that you can have a great time. So from one introvert to the internet, here are my top 10 tips, tricks, and suggestions for how to have the best time at your first Ren Fair. Tally-ho! Number 1, hydration. I cannot emphasize enough how important hydration is. The vast majority of Ren Fairs take place entirely outdoors, and mostly in weather that ranges from pleasantly warm to excruciatingly hot. You need to consume water. Most fairs will allow you to bring in water bottles, although do check that ahead of time, and most fairs will have water refill stations as well. Adequate hydration can make the difference between having a great day and having a not so great day, and potentially ending up in the medical tent. And if it's a really hot day, I would also suggest bringing along a packet or two of electrolytes. We lose sodium from our bodies as we sweat, and there comes a point where you don't just need water, you need to replenish sodium as well. These packets are really small, you can fit them in any pouch or satchel, just mix them in with your water and you're good to go. And there are also chewable electrolyte options if you don't feel like mixing them into a whole water bottle. Number 2, comfy shoes. If you're dressing up for a Ren Fair, it can be really tempting to be fully aesthetic right down to your toes, but your feet and back will thank you if you are wearing good shoes. You're going to be doing a whole lot of walking, often on very uneven ground, and in the wrong shoes, your back will be miserable by the end of the day. I have a pair of sandals that fit the ye old fairy fantasy vibe very well, but they have absolutely zero support. So I have basically banished them to the bottom of my closet and only wear them to my most local Ren Fair now. If you have boots that do provide adequate support while looking aesthetic, by all means, rock the boots. I love good supportive boots, and they add to the vibe and immersiveness of the day. But if you're wearing an outfit that is long enough to kind of hide whatever footwear you've got, there is no shame in wearing sneakers under your dress. I have worn sneakers under my Danielle dress, and honestly, to quote Gustave, no one will be looking at your feet. So if you care for your feet and your back, wear the comfortable shoes. Number 3, cash is king. I have yet to meet a Ren Fair vendor that doesn't accept cash, and it can make things so much faster and easier with just bills and coins. And get said cash ahead of time. The one year I didn't get my cash ahead of time was the one year where the cell service was absolute garbage, like nobody on the grounds could get consistent service, and the ATMs were totally on the fritz. I wasted a stupid amount of time waiting in line just to get cash out. And a number of vendors I spoke to that year were not having a great time because a lot of people just had card payments. And so the vendors were actually losing out on sales because the attendees couldn't buy anything because their payments weren't going through. So cash on hand speeds things up tremendously. And if you are going on a budget, that is a surefire way to stick to said budget. Bring only what you plan to spend, and when that's gone, can't buy anything more. And let's be honest, what feels more aesthetic at a Ren Fair? Pulling bills and coins out of a change purse or going boop on a card machine? Number 4, be mindful of the weather. This is a bit of a longer point because it's kind of 2 points in one. Dressing for the weather and planning activities around the weather. I can honestly say I have experienced a Ren Fair in pretty much every type of weather except snow. Boiling hot, pouring rain, pleasantly warm, and the windy, foggy, slightly drizzly weather that comes around in mid-October in southern Ontario. And how you approach the weather can make or break your day. If it's cold, layers will be your friend. Said icky weather October Ren Fair, I had on a long sleeve cotton shift, a long sleeve linen dress, a short sleeve linen overdress, and a thick velvet cloak. And I was mostly okay. Still a little chilly at times, but I survived. Would not want to repeat the experience though. Wool layers are also going to be extremely helpful, and Pippin proves that you can rock a scarf and still look like an awesome fantasy character. If it's going to be hot, you want lightweight fabrics, minimal layers, and natural fibers as much as possible. Polyester is going to hold in your heat and not be breathable, so go for linens and cottons if you possibly can. If you can find something like a short sleeve peasant blouse, that paired with a corset or stays is going to give you peak Ren Fair vibes without overheating. And there are some outfits that are just best left at home. While a velvet cloak with fur trim, leather surcoat, or head-to-toe plate armor may look supremely epic, if you're attending a Ren Fair in the Northern Hemisphere in August, you're gonna overheat in no time. And being mindful of the weather also means choosing your activities wisely. If your fair has some indoor activities, there are times when taking advantage of them will be most beneficial. If it's cold and gross and you want to warm up, head inside. If it's really hot and you're feeling lightheaded, head inside. If there are no inside options but there is shade, take advantage of that. I've been to a few Ren fairs now where they have misting tents available for hot weather, and it's literally what it sounds like. A little tent that has misting jets. You kind of feel like the produce department at the grocery store, but on a hot day, oh, it feels so good. Being mindful of the weather also means checking the forecast on the morning of, just to make sure you haven't missed anything. There was one year where we missed doing that, and were totally unprepared for the absolute deluge of rain that showed up midday. My brother was wearing a sweater that we had spray painted to look like chainmail, and the paint started running. We were soaked to the skin, slightly miserable, and my one good memory was that when we were huddled under a tent and I was kind of shivering because I was drenched, a random lady showed up, took off her warm wool cloak and draped it over my shoulders, and let me use it until the rain stopped and we could walk about again. I never saw her again, but whoever she was my hero that day. Number 5, buy tickets ahead of time. This is pretty simple and self-explanatory. Some fairs will sell out of tickets, so getting them ahead of time ensures that you don't miss out. I find it will also save you time when you get there. If a fair has a purchase online option, there are usually 2 lines when you arrive at the front gate, one for buying tickets and one for already have tickets. And each time I've gone, the already have tickets line moved way faster. So save yourself stress. If you can, buy your tickets before you hit the road. Number 6, bring snackos. But also try snackos. Ren fairs, like most festival events, will have food vendors of varying types. And like most festival events, the food tends to be pretty pricey and the lineups tend to be long. Yes, there is a novelty in walking around with a giant smoked turkey leg, but honestly, and this may be a controversial opinion, I don't actually like smoked turkey legs. I tried it once and was like, this was not worth the price or the time in line. What my family usually does is pack a suitably aesthetic basket of snackos, and we have lunch when we get there. Think crusty bread and chunks of cheese, cut up smoked meat, berries, some homemade cookies, or slices of a homemade fruity loaf of some kind. That way, we still feel like we're immersed in the moment, but not paying an arm and a leg. That said, there are some snacks and drinks that are worth standing in line for, and if you feel that your experience won't be complete without having some fair food, by all means, get the fair food. Have a flagon of mead. Or 2. Get the giant turkey leg, get the hand pies and fried potatoes and bratwursts and sweet rolls. But keep in mind, the lines will be long and the prices will probably be high. There is, however, one type of vendor I will always buy a snack from, and that is a pickle man. There is a longtime local hero in the Southern Ontario Ren Fair circuit who goes by the Lord of the Pickle. He always has this barrel cart full of giant dill pickles, and you always know he's there because you'll be going along through the fair, listening to the dulcet medieval music, and then you'll hear a call that carries clean across the entire fairgrounds to "Get your crunchy munchy pickles!" And I buy one at every event because they're just so good. And I mentioned electrolytes earlier. With the sodium in pickles, they actually make a perfect electrolyte boosting snack on a really hot day. So in short, to save time and money, bring snackos. To feel a little more immersed, or if you don't feel like carrying food from home, buy snackos. Speaking of carrying things around, number 7, pack light. You're going to be walking around all day, and you don't want a really heavy bag weighing you down. I often bring these little belt pouches. They're really handy for small things and trinket trading, and it's really comfy to wear them on your belt. I also usually bring along this satchel. I found this at a thrift store for about $15, and it is peak Ren Fair aesthetic. Very Flynn Rider. It's also 100% real leather, so it's going to last me a good long while. I do find that my shoulders tend to get a little bit stiff wearing this, and I keep having to swap what shoulder it's on, but it's a great place to store purchases. And as someone who has to keep things like EpiPens and inhalers on hand, I love a good satchel. But aside from things like emergency medications, pack as little as you can. Water, electrolytes, cash and cards, emergency snackos like a granola bar, maybe a hand fan if it's a hot day, and maybe some band-aids just in case you get blisters. I tend to keep things super simple. Number 8, check details ahead of time. Most fairs these days will have loads of information on their website and social media pages, and it really helps to read things over before you go. Even if you've been to a particular fair before, sometimes things change from year to year, and you don't want to be caught off guard by relying on old information. Such details would be things like fair hours, show schedules, weather policies, maps of the fair, and parking layout. The Oxford Renaissance Festival, one of my go-to fairs, switched locations a couple of years ago, and one year they had a shuttle bus from the parking lot to the front gate, and the next year they didn't. That is something very important to know ahead of time. Details will also include rules within the fair. What you can and can't bring in, can you have prop weapons, do they have to be peace-tied, policies on trinket trading, outside food and drinks, etc. Knowing those details can help with outfit planning as well as packing, so you're not caught off guard when you arrive. You do not want to get to the front gate and have to run all the way back to your car to drop off something that isn't allowed. Number 9, arrive early, to both the fair and shows. Some fairs will sell out particular days or weekends, and you don't want to get there and find out it's all full up, assuming you didn't already buy your tickets online. But also, parking spaces fill up fast, and the later you arrive, the chances are the farther you're gonna have to walk. Now, this might not seem so bad when you're getting there. You're about to go to a Ren Fair. You're gonna be among fairies and knights and maidens and hobbits and see all the shiny things and do the fun adventures. But what about when you're leaving? At the end of the day, you're tired, your feet hurt, you're probably hot and sweaty, the magic is wearing off, and you are ready to go home. And then you have to walk all the way back to your car. It's not fun. So getting to a Ren Fair early means you get to park closer to the entrance and have less distance to walk. And the same principle applies to the shows as well. Some smaller events and performers, you can probably find a seat wherever and not have a problem. But if you're going to see a joust or a popular entertainer, think like Jacques the Whipper, everyone is going to be going to that, and the good spots will be scooped up fast. If you want to see something, it's going to be really hard to get a good view if you end up standing 4 or 5 rows behind other people, especially if you're in the vertically challenged category like myself. When I'm going to watch the joust, I get there at least half an hour before it starts, if not a little earlier, so I can make sure that my hobbit-sized self can actually see the show. And it's also a prime opportunity to get a break from being on your feet. I break out the beverages and snacks, admire my shiny acquisitions, trinket trade if other trading folks are nearby, and otherwise just chill. But getting to a performance 5 or 10 minutes before it starts, you're going to be in standing room only and may miss the view entirely. And lastly, number 10, embrace the weird and have fun. You are stepping into a pseudo-medieval, fantastical world for the day. This is your chance to be the hobbit, or knight, or mysterious ranger, or silk-bedecked fair maiden, or staff-carrying wizard that you've always wanted to be. Nobody is going to look at you weird for walking around in elf ears and a corset. You will see an abundance of cloak-wearing folk, and we all know that we need more cloaks in life. I mean, okay, if you need to stop on the way to the fair for gas or snacks or cash when you're all dressed up, yeah, you might feel a little self-conscious and you might get a few stares, but just remember, you look awesome. Ren fairs are fun. They are magical, engaging places. Whether you're looking at a large-scale, full-time Ren fair that hosts multiple weekends throughout the year, or a little one-day pop-up Ren fair, they allow us to step away from the chaos and monotony and grage of modern life, even if it's just for one day. So go to a Ren fair, soak in the vibes, stop and watch the blacksmith demonstrations, buy some chainmail jewelry, have a drink from a flagon, let yourself embrace the fantastical around you. 2026 has been declared the year of whimsy, and I can think of nothing more whimsical than going to a Ren fair. Tally-ho, my friends. Okay, costume change, we're back. It's funny how sometimes an accessory can make all the difference in the world. Potentially ending up in the medical tent. Speaking of drinking water. There's usually two lines when you arrive.